Does anyone know what Bhagavad Gita means? Yeah, Gita means song. Yes, and Bhagavad is God, or the topmost personality. So we're hearing from a very topmost personality, as Krishna. In order to understand Bhagavad Gita, we should understand that Krishna is Bhagavan. Bhagavan means one who has 6 qualities. In power, they're topmost. Oh, huh. Very nice. 6:17. That's very good. In knowledge, they're topmost. In wealth or opulence, topmost. In beauty, topmost. In renunciation or being detached, not so attached to any type of result, anything. Topmost, actually, another quality of God. Which one am I missing? There's one more, opulence. Yes, and the most famous. Yeah, I said strength, power in the beginning. So in fame, there's no one more famous than God. All the religions are talking about him. Even the atheists are talking about him. I used to be an atheist. And part of my practice was to always tell people why I thought God was not real. That was part of my past, actually. And when I was dabbling in all kinds of psychedelic type of journeys, things like that. I don't know. You guys probably don't do that stuff, but I did that stuff. But yeah, I had a very interesting experience with them. My opinion changed very much. They're like a near-death type of thing. But anyway, that's not why I'm here today. So the subject matter is to how to balance health, career, and spirituality. So there's a lot of people who come to spirituality for all kinds of reasons. Maybe they're stressed out in life and they just need like a release, from the stress. Maybe, all the demands of work, all the demands of this, that, and the other, and so they need spirituality. But as we were explaining in the beginning, actually the foundation of existence is spirit. Everything is spirit. The foundation is spirituality. So you can't really balance spirituality. You can balance maybe spiritual practice. Maybe you can balance spiritual practice. Time where you actually take to cultivate your spirituality or to further realize your spirituality. But there is no balancing spirituality because that's really the fabric of existence. Even you guys all go to school for what? What's the end goal of school? A goody two-shoes might say, I want to get an education. Career. Yes. But usually there's some, some result beyond the education, Well, not a lot of people are just, investing so much into, let's say, the education system, for the education, because there's a free education system online. There's a reason you're going through this system, because you have faith, actually. It's because you have faith that if I go through this, I can get the pathway to my job. And if I go through this ring, that ring, and I jump and dance a certain way, and I do the interview process a certain way, I'll get a certain result. You have faith, actually. Faith is the foundation of why everyone is doing what they're doing. Faith is actually bhakti. Faith is actually a spiritual thing. But we have so much faith in many things. Faith is what drives us, actually. If you have faith that you can achieve your objective, then you act towards that objective. So this is something that's very prominent in us. And this is actually how bhakti and spirit is driving everything. Even the madman or the complete materialist to do completely material things. Because they have some faith that it will give them some type of result that they want, that they're looking for. So this is actually what's driving existence. So, that's how spirituality is even behind what everyone is doing, everything. But anyway, what this verse we just read means is that he who is temperate or moderate in his habits of eating, sleeping, working, and recreation can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system. So a lot of, and even before that, the verse said, there's no possibility of one's becoming a yogi, or Arjuna, if one eats too much or eats too little, sleeps too much, or does not sleep enough. And he was talking about actually by controlling the body, mind, and activities, the transcendentalists, they attain to the transcendental kingdom by giving up material existence. And material existence is illusory existence. So this is very actually like quite a high teaching. But when Shika actually planned this. Shika's not here. She went to India, is that correct? Yeah, so we miss Shika. And we were going to come last week to be with Shika, but Krishna, or the divine providence, did not arrange it by putting a huge obstacle of an accident between us and you guys. And we had to turn around on the highway because the traffic was piling up and there was no way around it. Despite all of our technology with Waze and so on, we could not figure out the way around it. So we were going to miss the program. But anyway, we're here with you this week. So I'm going to read a little bit, I probably won't do the whole thing, of Srila Prabhupada's translation. He says, the ultimate goal in practicing yoga is now clearly explained. Oh no, that's a different verse. Yes. He says, extravagance in the matter of eating, sleeping, defending, and mating. These are the activities of the living entities in the material world. Where's the food at? A lot of you come here, because they still provide food here?
A little bit.
Very good, very good. So maybe some, where's the food at? That's not a bad quality. You have to eat to survive, no problem. Sleeping, you also have to sleep to survive. But many of us, we put a lot of extra endeavor in to make sure we have the most extravagant sleeping arrangements. Defending, well, this is my house, this is my room, this is my apartment, this is my thing, mine. And you're like, you stay away, this is mine. And, we build up this little thing. All animals are doing that. This is my nest, this is my cave, this is my tree, whatever. And mating, everyone is impelled in this way as well. Young boys and young girls seem to like each other a lot, usually. Now everything is, as we progress in this age, everyone seems to like each other a lot, and that's no problem as well. But that instinct is there in all living entities, where the urge to be with each other, and eventually the mating process happens. But it's extravagance in those matters, which are demands of the body, can block advancement in the practice of yoga. So if we're not temperate in those things, there's no chance of practicing yoga. We're actually making that spiritual connection. So as far as eating is concerned, it can be regulated only when one is practiced to take and accept prasadam, or sanctified food. This is a bhakti science, where instead of eating anything and everything, we eat certain things that are first in the mode of goodness, but we actually will offer them in prayer, actually, back to God. And this will, a lot of traditions do this, where they give thanks for the food and things like that, and to give a spiritual intention. So this is taught by Prabhupada. So he talks about the type of things you would offer, which were things, vegetables, flowers, fruits, grains, milk, pretty much foods that you can obtain in a non-harmful way. That's the best. That's the diet of the yogi, trying to not give things which are going to harm others. This will cause a block in our spiritual advancement. And this way, a person in Krishna consciousness becomes automatically trained not to accept food not meant for human consumption, or which is not in the category of goodness. As far as sleeping is concerned, a Krishna conscious person is always alert in the discharge of his duties in Krishna consciousness, Therefore, any unnecessary time spent sleeping is considered a great loss. So someone who is this transcendental yogi, or this Krishna conscious person, they don't want to waste their life sleeping. There's so many extravagant. It's generally said that depending on how much we sleep, say we sleep 6 hours a day. This is like between 6 hours or less means the consciousness is very much saturated in this Sat principle, very simple and enlightened living. It's called Satvik. But if we're between maybe 6 and 8 hours a day, or 6 and 9 hours a day, it would be more Rajasic. We're more passionate. We have a lot of desires in this material world, and then anything over that would be more on the spectrum of more and more an illusion. The more an illusion we are, the more we have to eat, sleep, mate, and defend, actually. The more bodily conscious we are, actually, then the less the more actually enlightened we are spiritually, the less we need those things. And this is a phenomena you could actually study for those who have very deep spiritual practices. You find that they do these things less than most people do. Eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So eating, sleeping, working, and recreation, being very temperate in all these things. Actually, we see in the West, they don't teach. Actually, now in India, I see, we visit India time to time. We wanted to go this year. It might not work out now. But we see now that people more and more, especially in this age, they're working longer and harder than they ever did before. More material facility to relax than ever, but now people are working longer and harder than ever before. And actually, this is a symptom of not being temperate. We should also, in our work, it's not healthy to just work all day. We need to balance eating, sleeping, working, and recreation. There should be some time for leisure. There should be some time for leisure in your life. So, this was the subject matter of today, how to balance your career, how to balance your health, and how to balance your spirituality. Spirituality is the foundation of it all, actually. Everything is existing on spirituality. But, your career, I don't want to tell you, the guy at the thing said, don't work that hard. No, it's not going to work that way, actually, because when you go to work, especially, how many of you are international students here? Oh, many of you. Yeah, you will have to work very hard. Actually, I find we have a lot of international students with us in Syracuse as well. And you guys have to work actually even much harder than even, let's say, myself going through the same system in this country. You have to work very hard. So you'll have to be very skilled. You'll have to be very skilled and not waste any time at all, really. It's a very disciplined life, actually. I give you guys a lot of credit to do what you guys are doing as international students. It's very difficult. But find a way to mitigate, You should always do enough that you get exactly, you're pleasing to your superior in, say, work, say your professor, or maybe your boss, or this and that and the other. But also you should remember that there needs to be time proper for sleeping and recreation. And then also, what could be part of recreation is actually your spiritual practice, your spiritual health and well-being, because that's actually who you are. If we're working all day and we don't even understand who we are, then what are we working towards? For instance, many of us, we work very hard. Has anyone, what's an example I can give that's very easy? Let's say you wanted to build a house, okay? And you decided, I'm going to be the contractor. I'm not hiring any contractor. I'm going to build this house. So you might work very, 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 very hard. Put this brick here, this brick here, this brick here. And the next thing you know, you come up with something and you work like a, really hard, like a donkey or something. And then at the end of it, you show, hey, look what I've built. But then your contractor friend comes by and like, oh my God, this is a terrible job. The foundation is all wrong. You need to tear this whole down. This is very unsafe. So you'll be very distraught. Oh my God, I've worked so hard. I worked so hard for this. And all for nothing. This is what working without actually understanding who you are and what the fundamentals of reality are. We work so hard for, I'm going to maintain my family. I'm going to do this for my friends. I'm going to get this material achievement. I'm going to get this material achievement. But when you lose all of it at the end, it has to get torn down. I used to be, in college, I was a little chunky. You know this word, chunky? I was a little chunky. So I worked so hard to reverse that, and I became like a personal trainer, and I like really, really worked so hard, But now I look back at that time, I said, wow, what a waste of my time. I just put so much time and energy and effort in the gym. For what? So I could, my body could look a certain way. Mostly because I wanted to attract a girl. That was really it was that mating thing. That was like very much important to me. It might be important to you too. But it was such a large amount of endeavor in my life. I would go almost 2 times a day, 3-4 hours a day. And I did this for years actually. But what an endeavor I brought. But actually now, my body actually looks better than it did even back then when I was working so hard. Because I actually found out a secret. I should just be a little bit more tempered in my eating. That was the problem actually. That's why I got like that. It's because I couldn't control the eating thing. But yeah, I don't have to work like that anymore. And I get an even better result than I got back then. But so similarly, a lot of times we're working so hard, but we don't even know what we're working towards, what we're working for. So it's very important to understand who and what we are. If we don't understand that we're a spirit soul, and if we don't work towards what our spirit soul is going to do, we're just going to give ourselves so much trouble. Like a fish. If a fish hops out of water and says, oh my gosh, there's really nice food up here, there's beautiful, that lady looks so nice, maybe that land crab looks so nice, let me try and enjoy. This, that, and the other. But if the fish jumps out of the water to try and enjoy these things, what will its circumstance be? Yeah, it will not be happy at all. It will suffer like anything. I can't breathe. I don't know if you guys ever watched SpongeBob. Some scars are coming up, but I just remember there's one episode where he goes and visits his friend Sandy underneath the sea, and she's a squirrel, so she has like the non-water land. So he goes out there and she loves it in there, but he's just like, water, but this is like the fish. But actually this is what we're doing. We are spirit souls, and we're jumping into situations looking for pleasure of the body, looking through the pleasure through matter, through the engagement of the senses and the bodily senses, thinking that will give us pleasure. That's like what we're doing. We're outside of what could ever possibly give us pleasure, because it's not what we are. And then we're starving. We're starving for happiness. Everyone is looking for happiness, right? So just like a fish can only be happy in the water, a soul actually, a spirit, can only be happy engaged in spiritual activity. This is actually the fact. But if the souls continue on with only material activity, which has nothing to do with what they are, it's like uselessly working very hard towards something with no result at the end. And you say, oh, I got to tear this whole down, right? I gave the analogy of building the house. So many of us were doing that. We're climbing the career ladders, we're climbing the family ladders, we're working towards the relationship of our dreams, we're working towards this thing, we're working towards that thing. But you've got to tear it all down, eventually. The body will get old, they will get old, you'll lose it, the force of time will come and take everything. So can we be happy? We won't be able to be happy at the end, fully satisfied like that. But we can be happy if we're temperate in all those things. Yes, family life has to go on. I have a wife. I realized my limitations. I understood I was a spirit. I understood that, there's a spiritual reality, but I also understood that I'm not at that fully enlightened stage where I can just renounce everything and anything and everything. So I said, okay, let me find a wife and we can practice these things together. That was a way. There was a compromise. Okay, we still work. The bodily attraction is still there to some degree, but now we can work together. I eat too. You guys eat. These guys all eat. But what do we eat? We only eat certain types of food. We actually offer the food in sacrifice to the Lord. We have our little rituals. Not saying everyone has to practice our rituals, but we have our rituals and we offer it back to the Lord. And when we eat, we feel good that okay, one, this is only healthy things. And then two, we made some offering to the Lord. This is actually spiritual nourishment. And we feel that actually. Sleeping. Yeah, we all sleep. But, we try and minimize sleeping. There's certain times of the day that are conducive for all kinds of productivity. Does anyone know what's the best time of the day to accomplish all kinds of good things? Brahma Muhurta, yes. So even before sunrise, the Bhakti Yogi tries to rise even an hour and a half before sunrise. And this is the best time to really meditate. This is the best time to get as clear focused as you could possibly be in life. So this is the good thing. What time do we have until, by the way, Kartik? Hare Krishna. What time do we have until?
Yeah, we have it till 8. We have the room till 8.
Okay. So, and you guys have to eat still.
Yeah.
So, yes. Okay. So yeah, why don't we wrap this up? So basically, we have to learn to be temperate, but we also have to understand what is the actual gist of life, what is the essence of life. And the essence of life is that you are a spirit. You are a spirit soul. You are not this body. There's two phenomena in science that prove that you are not this body. And this is actually why I was an atheist and became a spiritualist, so to say. Is I had one of these experiences, actually both kind of simultaneously. Near-death experiences, which are often related to out-of-body experiences. You've heard of these before? This is a common phenomenon when people are very close to death, or sometimes like on an operating table or something like that. They're able to perceive that their body... I met somebody the other day who told me, I was talking about this with him, and he's like, when I was little, I had one of these. And I was like, what? He's like, yes. I went in the ocean, and I was by myself, and I started to drown. And I actually remember looking above my body, watching my body drown in the water. And then I guess one of his family members came and saved him. But this is a very common, actually almost everybody who almost dies, they have an experience like this. I had a similar type of experience, and that's why I shifted my worldview from atheism to there must be something more. If I could leave the body, that must mean I'm not this body, right? That's logical? Yes. If you can perceive the body from a third person point of view, then how can you be that thing that you're observing? You cannot. You're the observer, not the observed. But the problem is we're treating the observed as the observer, but that is not who we are. So if we don't go on this journey to understand who the observer is, who you are, this is the process of jnana, or sambandha jnana. Understand your relationship with the Absolute. And that's what Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita will teach you all these things. Who you are, who the Absolute is, or who God is, Spirit, the universe, or everything that the spiritualists are talking about. What this material world is, what karma is, the actions and reactions, and why we get the actions and reactions we have, and what's happening with time, how time is ultimately destroying everything. If we don't learn these things and understand the fundamental essence of reality, we'll just work so hard in this world, only to lose it all, and we will be disappointed. Just like, the person who works so hard to build the house, but they did everything wrong. And they have to tear it all down and start again. Actually, Jesus has a teaching like this. He says, build your house on a rock. Build your house on a stable place. Don't build your house in the shifting sands or on the pebbles, because eventually it'll all, get washed away and torn down. So similarly, we shouldn't put so much of our effort and time. Say we identify as with our career. Your career will not always last. You will only be able to work for maybe 20, 25 years. Maybe like that. You are not your career. You're the person who will have a career. But the career should be auxiliary to your life. It should not be your life. The career is something the body is doing. That's not something you are doing as a soul. Career is to maintain the body. That's why people work. The work is, I have to maintain myself in this world. So usually you do some service to the world in some way in which you can get compensated and you can survive. But that's what career is. And health is also, we need to be temperate. Don't eat too much. Don't sleep too much. Be very temperate in your activity. If you're going to eat, okay, I'll eat a suitable amount. What the body needs is good. Anything more than that works on towards disease. Yeah, you can splurge time to time, but there will be consequences to the splurging. Like the late night ice cream and junk food nights will have the consequences and things like that. But yeah, in everything, eating, sleeping, mating, defending, be very temperate and minimize these things and work towards understanding the spiritual truth. And there are ways to do this. We gave one way, this chanting process. There's many, many practices that can be learned. We share them at our ashram. A lot of these guys, they practice with us. We have a whole morning program on what to do that. We start early in the morning, 5:30 in the morning, every day, without fail. Even we'll get back late tonight, but I'll make everyone and myself get up early tomorrow and do it all again, because it's good for you. It's good for us. We have our practices. I won't go through them all now, but if you're interested, you can learn all these things. Then maybe we'll have 5 minutes for question, and then we'll sing a song together. Discussion point. Anything I say not make sense? Offensive? Yes, my friend.
What was the experience like? You mentioned out-of-body experience you had.
Yes. Okay. So I actually used to do psychedelic drugs actually at one point of my life in college. You were 21, yeah, so a little earlier than that in the model of my body. I was exploring in these things, and my body is 32 now, and yes, I've been free from any type of intoxication. That's a recommendation. Don't have any intoxication in your life. You want to, as clear a focus as possible to actually do a good job. Like when building the house, if you do it drunk, it will not be so good. So, or if you take the test drunk or high or this or that and the other, not to get a good work. So anyway, but I didn't understand these philosophy when I was a younger man. So I did many things, but there was one drug in specific that's supposed to stimulate an out-of-body experience, and it's a derivative of a lot of shamanic plant medicines out of South America, and so it's very popular. You guys know Joe Rogan? You heard of this man? And so Joe Rogan, he was the one who convinced me to do it. He had this documentary on it, and I was like a young man. And Joe Rogan, he's done this a few times. So, but basically, what it does is somehow or other, it, I don't know if you guys know this, this is a little bit of a spiritual science, but there's a gland in the brain called the pineal gland. You've heard of this before? So it's the physical manifestation of what's known in ancient cultures as the third eye, or even in the Bible is thine eye that Jesus is speaking of. So anyway, it's a secret kind of thing. But this drug forces. It's actually when you dream, like I was dreaming, and you see things in your dream. When you see, you normally see with your eye, but actually that's not what actually normally sees. The inner vision actually sees. It's called the mind's eye. So this gland is actually responsible for that. It's called the pineal gland. So anyway, this drug floods your pineal gland with the natural chemical component that it creates in small doses, but it does it in a very, very large dose. So anyway, I did this thing, and what it does is it forces your body into like a comatose type of meditative state, and then what almost always happens to the person who takes it is they have an out-of-body experience. And it's completely unique to that person what the out-of-body experience was. For me, I can tell you, first, what you see out of the body is not what you see in the body. Because this is like a machine. And what you're seeing with the machine, you see a 3D reality. But I can tell you what was perceived outside of the body was not 3D at all. There was a whole extra added realm, layers of dimensions there. But anyway, it's very traumatic. I wouldn't recommend anyone do this, actually. You should just read things like Bhagavad Gita. That's what? Yes. And so I was trying to hide a little bit, but now you've sniffed me out. So anyway, please, I don't want to hear that all of Rochester has started to do drugs because of me. But no, so, but it did, yeah.
When you mentioned Joe Rogan, he talks about all.
Yes, that's he convinced me to do it. So anyway, yeah, this is, so I experienced that other beings came to me when I was outside of my body, and they guided me to a gigantic being that I could not find the end of. I was trying to look into this being, and it was very frightening for me because I was an atheist and I didn't believe that there was anything beyond what my senses could perceive, which now that I look back is a very foolish belief, but I had this belief for whatever reason, that I thought that the way I perceived reality was the summum bonum of reality. But modern science even says what the human eye and ears can perceive is literally the closest whole number is 0% of what their technology can perceive. Now, what's to speak of what's beyond their technology? We're in these machines that are perceiving 0% of reality. So I don't want to scare anyone, but this is actually fact scientifically. So I kind of like learned that there was a lot more beyond what my consciousness was able to perceive previously. And actually what I found was this seemingly infinite being, just kind of, these other beings brought me before this being. And what ended up happening was my life flashed before my eyes. I was out of my body with the eyes, but yes. 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 Anyway, so basically, all of the people that I wasn't just an atheist. I was like someone who would like blaspheme religion, which is like very funny that I was talking about God so much, and then he would, he was like, "Oh, okay, I'll show you." I actually had a really interesting experience that led to this, but I can't tell it, no time. But yeah, basically, my life flashed before my eyes, and or my mind's eye, you could say, and I remembered all the religious people in my life that I blasphemed, like where I told that no, God doesn't exist. Why are you doing this? This is a waste of your time, and so on. And I felt very ashamed and regretful for that. And I guess that's the only thing that the experience was meant to teach me. And those same beings who brought me before that being, they took me back down. And eventually I went back into my body, and I kind of resurfaced, came back into material consciousness again. And yeah, my life was never the same after that. I realized that there was a whole new spectrum of reality that was beyond what I had previously known, and that I had to figure out what I saw. And actually, when I read Bhagavad Gita many years later, Krishna describes his cosmic universal form in the 11th chapter, and that was the closest thing I ever saw described to describe that experience that I had. And that's how I knew for sure that I loved the Bhagavad Gita up to that point, but once I read that 11th chapter and Krishna described that, I just knew, like, this is it. This is what you've been looking for. And so for me, I went with that. And I continue with that. But yeah, that's kind of what happened. One more thing.
Raghunath Das was just on Joe Rogan.
Oh, just on again?
A
A second time? I know he went on like 4 or 5 years ago.
Was it that long ago?
It was a little while ago.
I thought it was recent. I just saw a clip of it.
Yes,
I thought he
yes.
went back.
Yes.
Maybe not, 'cause I know he's toured.
No, they used to do jujitsu together, so maybe it's possible he went on again. I don't know.
I think he did.
Okay, well, very good. Yeah, if you want to watch a devotee on Joe Rogan, Raghunath.
It's cool, he asked all about his practice and stuff.
Yeah, that's very nice. So, well, very good. I wish we could do more. Would you guys like to sing a song? I wish maybe Gopikanta, maybe your mother can offer something nice on behalf of all of us, a lamp here, like a candle or something. I don't know, she said. But normally what we do during this, a very holy month actually, it's called Kartik. And there's a very beautiful pastime that I can't tell all about. But, and it's described how actually the only thing that can conquer God is actually the devotee's love. And there's a song about this phenomena, that only the aspirant, the spiritual aspirant's love for the Lord can actually be the thing that conquers God, because he just becomes indebted to such an intimacy. This love is so powerful, we can't even imagine. We're even so powerful where it can conquer God with our love. So anyway, we sing this song, and it's very auspicious to sing during this time of the year. It said you get like a 99.99% off sale. Hello. Off sale on all spiritual activity. It usually yields a certain amount of result, but you yield 99.99% more. Or no, that would be like many thousands of percents more by doing this activity during this month. So we do this. Yes. So sure, if you want to come up and while we sing the song, if you want to offer a figurative lamp, we normally actually we brought all the things for actual lamps.
He used to have this on like a plate for the devotees.
Okay. So yes, you guys arrange.
People already waiting for them.
Yes. So, and then you guys have to eat, and then I think maybe they'll kick you out. Do we have time? Is that okay? Okay. We'll be quick. I won't have everyone repeat it. We'll just do it together. Can you get the Damodar Astakam on the screen?